Jesus Christ. Yeah, I started reading that thing that you sent me about the Steve Jobs, and then
Yeah.
I had like a giggle because it's so funny that
Did you
what.
get to the book quote?
No, I didn't get
Or
that far because I
okay,
was setting this
that's the best
up.
part. Yeah, good. Yeah, go on.
I know I'm going. I'm looking for it. Uh, then Raskin tells it. Here's what he said: excerpt from pages. What I proposed was a computer that would
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, and sell for about 1,000. Steve says that it was a crazy idea, it would never sell, and he didn't want anything. Yeah, Steve Jobs, like I've known all about it. Him and Bill Gates. They're
Yeah.
literally both. Like, there's that say like that thing with like Steve Jobs didn't know how to program for the life of him. He it was Wozniak who actually
Oh, did the Apple too, right?
yeah
So, um, and it's just funny. Um, says it. I don't know. Maybe we should just read this, right?
yeah
Right. It says with this guy in this book. It was a book called. What's the name of it? Right here. Programmers at Work. Right. And it was from like 1986,
mm,
and had an interview with I don't know, a couple hundred people. I think Bill Gates was in there, and he was supposedly a hacker at some point.
mm-mm.
Um, so, but there's this one guy in there. He tells his story. And he is the one who says he came up with the Macintosh idea with his team, and that it was shot down over and over again by Jobs. So to quote the book, it says, "What I proposed was a computer, parenthetically the Macintosh,
Yep.
that would be easy to use, mix text and graphics, and sell for about $1,000. Steve Jobs said that it was a crazy idea, that it would never sell, and we didn't want anything like it. He tried to shoot the project down, so I kept out of Jobs' way and went to the then chairman Mike Markula and talked over every detail of my idea. Fortunately, both Markula and then President Mike Scott told Jobs to leave me alone. We went off to a different building and built prototypes of the Macintosh and its software and got it up and running. Ellipses. We were trying to keep the project away from Jobs' meddling. For the first 2 years, Jobs wanted to kill the project because he didn't understand what it was really about. If Jobs would only take credit for what he really did for the industry, that would be more than enough. But he also insists on taking credit away from everyone else for what they did, which I think is very unfortunate. I was very much amused by the recent Newsweek article where he said, quote, I have a few good designs in me still. He never had any designs. He had not designed a single product. Steve Wozniak designed the Apple II. Ken Rothmuller and others designed Lisa. My team and I designed the Macintosh. Wendell Sanders designed the Apple III. What did Jobs design? Nothing. In short, Jobs' only contribution to the Macintosh project was to try to unsuccessfully cancel it.
Yeah.
So,
All he did was
and
literally go around and try. He was a salesperson. That was it. Like
so
in the end, that's all he did was he walked around and sold the idea to people, and then that's how they, from my recollection, that's how they actually bankrolled the money to sort of like get this going.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
and so this brings up just I think something interesting, and it ties into what I was talking about before with the Mr. Beast
Mm-hmm.
leak, and how. And did you read through that? Do
I
you
read
recall?
through most of it. Like I said, I was reading through it, but I didn't understand if that pamphlet was the leak. Like,
Supposedly, yeah.
yeah. So like, because to me, the whole pamphlet thing came across as, like I said to you, it sounds like one of those. I make $25,000 a month from home. Ask me how. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so anybody who literally, I don't know anything about Mr. Beast. Like, I see
Mm,
parody shit about him all the time. That's the only knowledge I have about him. But he's
mm.
like one of those guys, I guess, that's like, we're gonna go give my friend Jim a car, and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, and he gives Jim a car like, 5 times.
Okay.
So I don't, but to me, yeah, I mean, it's not what I was reading about how he comes to his conclusions to like, see what's viral, because that's what he was studying, he said, virality or whatever, however you
Mm.
want to pronounce it. I mean, it's not terrible, but to be honest, anybody who thinks he's legit deserves to be hit in the head with a tack hammer. Like, like you're just the lowest common denominator of people, and
We're talking about
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast.
Oh,
Yeah,
anybody who looks up to Steve Jobs and Bill Gates needs to be beaten in the head with a jackhammer too. Like, don't get me wrong. They're the
yeah.
same. You ever see the meme of the that I forgot? You know what the terminology for it is? Where it's not like where it's like a very crudely drawn troll drawing.
uh, yeah. Wojak.
Wojak, thank you. Would you ever
Yeah.
see the Wojak one where it's like the dude and he's got like the big bottom lip and he's drooling and he's got a big dent in his head and he's like, they usually paraphrase it with, but I
I'm not
like
sure.
it or something like that. Like that, those are the kind of people I see that are into this stuff and look up to. Like Bill Gates was a thief. He stole, from what I recall, he stole most of Windows from the Macintosh community and he just got it out there faster. He never programmed anything, and his the only reason he's where he is because his dad was like a very very wealthy, affluent philanthropist.
Hmm.
Like he comes from big money, so
Yeah.
there's no like what's the word I'm looking for? No coincidence. Like he's where he
Hmm.
is.
No, no, not at all. And well, and what I thought this might tie into is like just talking about artistic integrity, right?
Right.
Um, when it comes to music, bands, making money off of music, movies, just everything like that, and even tech, you could say, right?
Yeah.
Um, it was funny because I have a student that I'm teaching how to produce, right?
Mhm.
So I have to teach him kind of like a little bit about every instrument and all, some music theory, how to use all the
Good. I
equipment, blah,
pay
blah,
you to
blah.
do that.
What's that?
I said I pay you to do that. No,
And
I'm kidding. Like I said, I was taking those production lessons for a while and they got busy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, so anyway, yeah. So he was coming over. He's a teenager,
Yep.
and he's coming over, and his dad was kind of breaking his balls. The kid was whining about some teacher at school or whatever, saying whatever his grade's too low or something.
Mhm.
And the dad's just like, it's funny. The dad's an ex-cop, and now he's a security guard.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Okay. That's enough.
he got sick of doing well, he trains security guards is what he does actually.
Okay.
But he got just sick of the beat, so did it for
So he
14 years.
retired?
Yeah. So
Okay. Then, all right. Then that
he
makes
said
more sense.
he was in a bad mood for like 14 years and he just
Yeah.
was sick of it. So anyway, so he he was he was driving him in. And he always comes up, says hi to me. You know, he likes saying hi and talking and stuff. And he comes in, and they're having this discussion like midway, and he's like, "Well, then just cheat." It's like that's what you got to do if you want to get ahead in life, you know. And then he's kind of like breaking his balls, but at the same time, I think half serious. And then I just picked right up in and started kind of teaming up with him,
Yeah.
and ad libbing. Like, yeah, man, it's like you better off, find out now before, right? Anyway, and that was just kind of funny, and we had our little banter, and then we go inside, right? And I said something probably just to kind of close that little conversation off, and then began the lesson. And part of it was I'm just trying to explain the psychology of dealing with band members, with dealing with different rappers, everything else like that you have to do, and the egos that are going to be involved and how you have to kind of take yourself outside of that, get outside of all your opinions and tastes and everything else, and just kind of analyze what's going on with everyone else.
Mhm.
So, and I just brought up this Mr. Beast thing. It turns out he was like a Mr. Beast fan, right? And so he didn't know about these controversies. And it was like he was almost a little deflated, like to kind of get a bit of a red pill on the Mr. Beast, how most of his contestants never get paid or get the prize that they're supposed to get, that the trees he planted were never planted, that like all this whatever. And now that whole thing of we're not in the business of making good videos. We're in the business of just making people click and keeping them on there as long as possible, right?
Yeah.
It's not about artistic integrity.
No.
So,
Dude, nothing out there is. I mean, let's put it this way: like anybody who thinks that shit's legit was also believing that the Liver King was not on steroids. Like, it's that kind of bullshit. And I think there's, to be honest, I think it's like this. So, like, let's say your student, right? He's a teenager. You said, like,
yeah.
is it like mid-teens, late teens, early?
Yeah, mid-teens.
Mid-teens.
Yeah, he's like
So
almost 15.
Okay, so literally 15 to me today is like 9 when we were 15. Like everybody's become so mentally fucking retarded that they're literally like they're 5 years behind. Of course, I just did what 6. So anyway, so now I'm retarded. So they're like 5 to 6 years behind mentally, and I'm talking adults too. And then they like literally everybody caps out at like 19. Like 19 is where everybody wants to stop maturing. Why do you like you look at it like it's almost like every other week there's some fucking hot female teacher who's fucking her students. And I'm not kidding. It's the same mentality. It's this mentality.
Where were you?
Yeah, no. You know what's so funny? I was just talking to somebody about that, and I did have a teacher. Like going into a sidetrack, I had a teacher. Her name was Ms. Mills, and she was like,
"Oh, you outed her?"
Huh? No, dude. She wanted to bone me something fierce. Like, you ask any of my buddies and shit, they would tell you like when they were in the class with me, she would find like it was almost like you could drop a pencil, like I could drop a pencil by mistake, and she'd be like, "You're causing a ruckus. Move your desk up." She'd make me move my desk up next to her desk and sit next to her. Like it was.
You were 15, you said, or what?
No, I don't think I was even that old, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was probably no. I could have been 14, 15. But when I was 14 or 15, like I'm not like trying to say like toot myself or anything, but like I was a good-looking kid, and I was always kind of like like I'm a little stocky.
Early developer, or
well, like a little stocky. And you know how me and you talk about ourselves and dealing with other people, and sometimes we feel like we're a little bit beyond other people, like when we chat. And I'm not trying to say that because I mean I'll look stupid plenty of times, but I think all that stuff encapsulates in somebody's brain, and I think women are very susceptible to like this, feeling old. So she would literally bring me up, and all my buddies were like, "Dude, you got to do that." And I'd be like, all I could remember was I can't remember exactly where it was, or if it was like on her chin or something, but she had this big mole, and I was like, "Nope,
couldn't get past it."
Nope, could not do it. Nope. And you're talking about 15-year-old kid that used to jerk off to the weirdest shit, and like I couldn't get
Bugs
past,
Bunny.
Yeah, I couldn't get past the mole. But like everybody is so mentally retarded and almost intentionally gullible and naive. It's very weird. If like that student literally stood back and went, if he just even said it to himself, like, yeah, this is bullshit, everything would just avalanche down and he would realize it. But I think he's so involved in wanting to be that he stays gullible in accepting the fact that it can happen to him when it never will. Like you even said it. There's like YouTube farms and shit that just make these people.
Yeah. Well, now it's funny. I was reading on Hacker News today. They're making these. Well, remember I told you about a few years back about the internet dying and all, and eventually this dead internet theory came about, and well, now they're actually trying to sell you the dead internet insofar as like they're making these artificial internets that you can have fake AI social media accounts on for, and all fake AI friends. Well, because part of the dead internet theory is that, like, one part is just it's Potomkin Village, that there's no information there anymore. And then the other part of it is that like 80-90% of the stuff on there is from bots, right? Or AI or something of the sort, right? So now it's like they're trying to sell people a dead internet, like just basically you're not just chatting with a robot, you're chatting with an entire internet of robots that will respond to you and give you social feedback, and you can tune the internet to your liking. So if you want an internet that's always going to like you're kind of combative, right?
Yeah.
So like
no, I'm not.
So like you would want an internet of a bunch of people like trying to give you crap so you could give them crap back. Or, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100% understand. I'm completely on track with you. Trust me. And I understand.
So now they're selling this. This is a product now that they're developing.
And the thing is, I don't understand why people don't understand that. It's been news for a decade or more that like there are companies out there that will sell you internet followers and interaction
Yeah.
to make it seem like you're bigger and more famous than you really are.
Yeah.
And I don't get why people don't like why they assume that these people who pop out of nowhere and have like 50,000 followers are legit, and like
Yeah.
they're just so profound that like, oh,
Yeah.
they got these people. You know what's funny too is I can't 100% say this, but I think I told you like one of my old Twitter account. I only have my Twitter account, but I
Mhm.
had enough, which is the weird thing. Here's where things get weird. Maybe you could actually rebound this into something that makes sense. So I only ever had one Twitter account. It's the one I have. And I started it originally under a different name and like a different, like a whole different like thing. It was only made so I could interact with this one radio show I listened to. And
Mhm.
it was named off the radio show, like something about the radio show. And then I changed it to what it is now, the Evil Nick one, and
Mhm.
went from there. But maybe about 2 months ago now, or a month or two, I got an email from Twitter saying that my account password has been used somewhere. And I was like, what? So I went in and I was like, okay, it's not my account. It was the old account. And I'm
Mhm.
like, this account shouldn't exist. It still existed. It used the password from the time, which thank God isn't my password now. Somebody
Wow.
had hijacked it and started using it as a bot account. So they took it from
Oh
so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So like
I've read about this. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so the
Okay.
profile picture was like this chick's butt. It was a very nice butt. Like I mean,
Yeah,
hell, I almost left it because it was so nice to look at.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so like I think there's big business in going in and hijacking these defunct Twitter accounts or even these duplicated Twitter accounts. So
Mhm.
I think when you change your Twitter account, maybe it doesn't change, or maybe at the time it didn't change. Maybe it literally just sort of like replicated the account. Because like if you're doing, I know one for example is PlayStation Network, which is like the video game PlayStation.
Mhm.
Once you create an account and a name, it's like really hard to change your name. Like if you decide like I don't want to use this name anymore, I want to go somewhere else. I want to use something else. You have to call them, and I think now they started offering like a premium service where you could pay, and it's not cheap because it's so hard to go
Yeah.
in and change the name and bring all your information over. So I wouldn't put it past Twitter at the time that it was the same thing. And instead of just changing your name, what they did was replicate the account, create a new account with all your information and a new name, and
Yeah.
then leave your account sitting there. Because
Mhm.
the more people on the platform, the better it looks for them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you just have a whole bunch of fucking, Russian and Chinese and, left wing Americans hijacking accounts, Soros. Well, now I'm going to deep, deep shit. you know? So it's like, yeah, I don't understand why people think. And like, I'm even of the same, like you just said, I'm combative. Like, I'm disgustingly, like, disenchanted and franchise for everything.
Contentious.
Yeah, 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 exactly. So like I'll say something, and then somebody will come on behind me and be like, "Yeah, you're right." Fuck you, bot. You know what I mean? Like, I know you're not real. I don't care if you're agreeing with me. Eat my butt. Like, I don't.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just don't trust anything. Like, it's
Yeah,
bad,
no,
but you have to.
internet is a mosh pit for you, right? It's
Yeah, it really is. Oh
just
shit.
just got to get it out.
Yeah. No. Well, that's like even my tagline on the fructose is it's toxicity is therapy. You go
Yeah,
on, you get that shit out, and then you get to function in the real world.
yeah. I guess what why society is normally supposed to let you give you time to artistically express yourself so you can maintain your sanity and
Yeah.
continue working in the factory.
Oh yeah,
Because if you don't
100%.
have that, like,
You know.
yeah. But
Yeah.
it's funny, you see things always it's like the hourglass always has to empty before it can be tipped back to the other side. And
Yeah.
you just see that with trends and everything that's going on now too
Well,
with
that's actually
this
a pretty.
year.
I've never heard that before. That's pretty good.
Yeah, well, I just came up with now, I think,
Oh, okay,
but
good.
it probably should be said.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm sure someone else has thought of it. I just
Doomer
haven't
quotes.
read it yet. What's that?
I said Doomer quotes.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I, I think I'm quote worthy. Please quote me more. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Oh, me too. That's like honestly one of my favorite quotes that I came up with that people love to use. It goes on to like the whole thing, and I always say, look, nobody really wants true equality. Everybody just wants their turn. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
you know what I mean. Like nobody wants equality. They just want their chance to be in charge for a little while.
yeah. Well, there was it the ancient Greeks? I don't know. I'm trying to remember which it was, but suppose which era it was. But supposedly for quite a while, um, ancient Greeks, Romans. Well, the guy in charge, like the commander, general, or whatever they had back then. I'm not delivering this as eloquently as I'd like to, but
That's all right.
I don't think I've ever. I think I've just read this and I've never told it to anyone. And unfortunately, that's a lot of what I have to say. Sometimes it's things I've read that I haven't processed yet, insofar as putting them into oral arenas.
Yeah.
so.
No, I get it. Trust me, I understand
And so I'm
100%.
just like kind of trying to remember and think through it and try to construct a sentence at the same time. So,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, basically everyone got to be the general or captain or whomever, right? Of the army, of the legion, of the town, right?
Mm-hmm.
For 1 year. And then it would always be, then it would be the next person in line. And every single person got to be leader once. So what it did, it make you think. It's like, if you're going to be really just a, a cruel dictator, right?
Yep.
Instead of instead of really trying to lead, then, or if you're just going to be lazy and not do anything and leave it up to the people, like if you're not going to do it, then, well, what's going to happen when the next person's in charge, right? And they'll remember that. And also, if you like unfairly treat anyone or like just because you have, remember I talked about before, like I try and explain to my student as a producer, you got to remove yourself from all the emotion and the drama, right? In order to make sense of all the idiots around you, aka musicians. Um,
Yeah,
so,
well, that's anybody. I mean, it really is. But yeah, trust me, I understand 100% what you're talking about. Even with musicians.
so, and I'm a musician, so I get to say that.
I don't even consider myself a musician. I really
I get to play
don't.
the M card.
The what?
I get to play the M card. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Yeah, no, I've never even considered myself a musician. Like, I really haven't. Because I'm not theory taught or anything like that. But like I get it because like I've always me and my buddy were just talking about this. It's so hard to find like competent, logical people. Like I guess I'll just use the word musicians to play with.
yeah.
Like there's such a weird like. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. But yeah, we can circle back to it, as they used to say.
Yeah, exactly. We'll circle back to that.
So I just said so you're trying to zoom out for I think I went off topic for so
No, I mean to do that.
So what was the last thing you remember that I was saying?
You were talking about everybody being like leader for a year, and then
Oh yeah, so leader for a year. And anyway, just if you think about the psychology of what that does to society, right, and how it would make for a pretty fair society, and as far as records show, that era was one of the most peaceful, productive eras that there was because of the change, like because everyone gets their chance to be in charge, but only for a year. There's a time limit on it, right? So
I vaguely remember something about this. I'm gonna have to refresh myself, but I do vaguely remember reading something on what you're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you said something and it tied into that. I forget. Anyway,
I don't know. We're talking.
but
About, I veered off into musicians and.
yeah. So musicians, you're talking. What were you saying about musicians? I think there's
No,
something.
you were just talking about like oh shit, now I forgot. It was like no, it was like basically trying to find like logical, sane musicians to like play with and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's always been very difficult. Either find people who are so hardcore into it that it almost, in my experience, I'm not saying for you, but like in my experience, I either found because for me, I always had to, I just couldn't, like I couldn't find like I always had to like work and then playing music and stuff was like the side thing. If something ever became of it, or if I could make a little money doing it, hey, great. But if I was having fun, then I was having fun, and that's the big deal. But like you either found people who were really overly hardcore into it. Here's the funny part too. And
Yeah.
everybody I've ever met outside of, like you, trust me. No, trust me. I honestly do. Trust me. Like when I say this, anybody like outside of you, they're either overly hardcore into it,
Yeah.
and this is coming from me saying this,
Yeah. Yeah.
and not very good,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they're super good and completely unfucking reliable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's no middle ground.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you get that like that dude would be like, dude, we just gotta quit our jobs and go on tour and just no, you suck. Like it's fun
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
play with you. You're cool to hang out with, but you're terrible and you're you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
that one dude, you're like, dude, I'm gonna drop everything. Let's go play. Okay, I'll meet you Tuesday, and you're standing there Tuesday in the fucking rain. You know, getting
Yeah.
wet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, where'd he go with a boombox over your head? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people seem to be confused by what is required to get anywhere you want to get in life, and
Yeah.
what they say. It's like 99% is showing up.
Yeah.
It's just you gotta show up again and again and again and again, and you also have to kind of understand. And this is what I mean. I think part of the point I was trying to make is stepping back and understanding what exactly you want from the organization, right? So let's say the organization is a band or a business or what have you, right? A partnership. So is it a hobby? Well, do both people want hobbies? And if they want a hobby, it's like how much of that hobby is going to take up how much of their time and what have you, right? Do you know what I mean? So if
Oh no.
if you're not
100%.
meeting on, if you have two people that are good and want to drop everything and whatever, just try to go full time. Which these days that's not really a thing you can do. You basically got to build it up slowly. Unless you got a huge budget to start with. But anyway, then you have these, you have to know, you can't be in a band. It's almost like, well, if you're not going to the same place, right? This is like couples will fail if they have like different futures ahead of them.
Yeah.
It's like you're just not gonna, right? Especially if like let's say someone's really into like drinking and someone's not, or someone's really, what I mean? It's like, but
what are you trying to say?
oh no, I just mean like no, well, we don't have to be. No, but I mean, let's say like your girl was a complete like teetotaler and went to church every Sunday, and so, I mean, it'd be difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might have different futures ahead of you if
I
like
think it'd be great. I just hit the strip bar every Sunday.
I mean, well, that would also depend on what she wanted out of the relationship and what you wanted. So it's the same thing with the band, right? I think a lot of people aren't clear with even themselves out of what they want out of being a musician, because a lot of people just have this vague kind of like, I want to be cool, because for some reason people think musicians and artists are like, even if they've succeeded at like tech or being an actor or an actress, is like they always kind of academia, won a Nobel Prize, they always kind of wish like they were a cool musician or artist or something, right?
Well, no, you said that really good. Like they want to be cool, and then think about what we just talked about a little while ago. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Think about what we just talked about a little while ago with like the student and his idea of, and what I was trying to describe of being almost intentionally obtuse to what the reality is, because he wants to be that. Like he wants to be cool. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like so many people look at certain like musicians or rock stars, and it's not like the fucking 80s anymore. So it's like usually, like you said, 99% of the time it's just showing up, but a lot of the time showing up means that you had somebody to tell you to show up.
Yeah, and who gave you a place to show up to. But still, if you don't have a place, you got to make a place over time and consistency, right? 100%. And try to run into as much luck as you can along the way. So.
Yeah. It's so funny too. It's like you said, like so many people don't know what they want. But then there's this very like there's almost like this vector of people who like almost like a triangle. It's like it starts out very small and then it widens out where they think they know what they want, but then as they get closer to it, they get scared.
Repelled by it, yeah.
Repelled by the idea. Almost like afraid of success, or they
fear of success, yeah.
It's
common
self-sabotaging. And I've run into that in the past too with people where I've been in like situations where I've had people who were good and reliable and like I've even told you with even like one of my older bands, I set up a lot of shows. We did a little tiny bit of like, not, I wouldn't say traveling. It was like like, northeastern. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was like as things got bigger, I would notice like one or two people in the band. Oh, I would, but and it's like, dude, like what? And then it started to click in my head. I'm like, this guy says he likes the idea of a grandiose, exposure, but when the reality hits him, he's getting scared.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So like a lot of people don't. I think when they get into, it's almost like my other side business. I always used to tell people, you know, they get into this idea. I mean, I could say it. It doesn't matter. But like the rentals, right?
Hmm.
So people insistently think that like you have the rentals, like you have some rentals, you're just rolling in dough. Like you're
Yeah.
not. It's a lot of hard work, and the return is very minimal. And
Hmm.
that's kind of like what this is too. Like it's a lot of hard work, and the return is minimal. And I think it turns a lot of people off. But then like if the reward actually starts, I think you get so conditioned to that when the idea of the reward actually not being minimal, like people almost like overreact and get like scared by it. I ventured off a little farther than I should have with that, but
Oh, it's all right.
yeah,
No, did you
yeah, that was it. I
finish?
really should have stopped about 2.5 minutes ago.
No, I was tracking. No,
Yeah, I feel like there was somewhere else I was going, but I completely just brain farted it out. So, you know,
yeah. Well, that's part of the catharsis, I believe.
yeah,
Because this is also life has gotten so tight and hyper edited,
yes,
and there's very very little room for play and experimentation. And people, I think, really fear any sort of um, shortcoming as some sort of failure, or some sort of let's just say experimentation as a shortcoming and
yes,
some sort of failure,
yeah,
because life needs a playground, or else you can't make sense of things,
no,
right? You can't separate the slop from
yeah, no,
from the
you're,
protein, right? It's
yeah,
just
and you're 100% right. And I think the idea that we've gotten also out of this um, small town environment to where everything is online and people are afraid. Like people are
yeah.
afraid to experiment. I was just, it's so funny. Like you bring that up because I was just, how I'll send you like screenshots lately or just text like, hey, check out this band.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
it's
I got to
from,
check that band out too.
oh
Sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, there's a couple I sent you that have been really good because I watched that guy on YouTube and Low End University, and believe it or not, she's into him. I mean, I don't know if she just thinks he's cute. I really don't care. Whatever lets me watch him for 15 minutes. And he's a bass player, and he's really good, and he's just getting into like punk and blah blah blah. So he goes in these bands, but it's so funny because we were watching him, and I think it was either yesterday or the day before, and I was literally just thinking like, it's amazing. There's no coincidence. Like they always say, like, okay, it was the last one I was listening to was like that uh, almost like that South Cali kind of punk
Hmm.
like style. I can't remember the band that it was, and I may have sent it to you actually. And the
Mm.
thing is, it's like I'm like, oh, they sound like them, and they sound like them, and they also sound like them, and I'm like, there's no coincidence that all these bands that come out in these same eras sound exactly the fucking same.
No, for sure.
We used to always talk about this, like that cookie cutter, put the stamp on it
Yeah.
and ship it out. And I think that sort of deprived us of this sense of experimentation, especially with like music. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That people are almost like afraid to venture out and do something different. Like
Yeah. Well, I I'm kind of slightly white pilled on the coming years. I think there's a lot of trends I see just socially, economically, technologically, and musically kind of merging. And I've heard some new bands um, that some of them been trying to hack away for a few years,
mhm.
uh, but some new bands that are coming from the underground that have small followings that are actually making music that I find sonically pleasing production wise, because basically um, I stopped finding a lot of things sonically pleasing, like the late um, noughties, what do you call it? The early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and up
The
until
funk pop era.
maybe, yeah, up until like the late teens, it was just a lot of, I just thought just the sound of the productions didn't sound good. The digital instruments, it just hadn't gotten to a place. And now um, some of these bands are using the new technologies that are imitating all these old analog instruments and
Mm-hmm.
making them sound and feel where they can almost fool you. That you think you're listening to some 80s music you hadn't heard before. You listen to
Yeah.
some music from the 60s that you haven't heard before. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not all of them nail it, but and it's actually good. You're like, man, like this is cool because you get that sense that nostalgia that you're discovering more music from like an era that you enjoyed,
Yeah.
right?
Oh no, no, no.
So,
If you find anything like that, dude, send it to me. I'm always looking for stuff. Check out I think I sent you this other band, Tiger Army. That was pretty good that I just found. But
yeah,
no,
I'll
it's so
check them
funny
out.
you say that because like even when we first met and started playing, like my big thing was like, dude, I always like a lo-fi. You're more getting me into like a better production sound because to be honest, like I was always into that lo-fi. I want it to sound like a mic'd room, like you know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
I just felt like it was like more authentic and more nostalgic and almost realistic compared to most of the stuff that was coming out today in that same era where it was
Mhm.
like everything was starting to become so refined and
Yeah.
it's like to me it's almost like that art imitates life and life is not refined, you know what I
No.
mean, and it's when you start putting too much polish on something it just becomes like to me it becomes almost over embellished like you're just trying to hide the mistakes when the mistakes are
Yeah.
part of it, you know what I mean? How many times did we record something when we were doing something like you know in your setup and I'm just like one of us did something dumb and we're like oh, keep that
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Found
Isolate
art
that.
almost. Yeah. Spontaneity.
Yeah, exactly.
Spont.
You know, and that's so funny because I'm the same way with fucking photos. So like when me and her go on vacation, she gets fucking irate. And I'm exaggerating. She doesn't get irate. But she's a girl. You know, let's take
Uh-huh.
pictures. I don't want to. Leave me the fuck alone. Oh, pose. No. Like, if you take a good picture of me in the moment, I'll
Uh-huh.
hang on to that forever.
Yeah, yeah.
If we
I got
sit,
you.
yeah, the spontaneity of it is the life of it. It is what makes it memorable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I
Absolutely.
think the same way with music and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, in the old days, before everything changed with the way females look at the camera, but it used to, where now it's like, they have that just such aggressive look into the cameras, where they used to be girly and,
Yeah.
whatever. But it was to be able to act natural, like it was a candid shot. You had to train yourself to be able to be candid in front of a camera, just like a comedian has to talk on stage like he's just talking to you off the cuff. He
Yeah.
can't sound like it's rehearsed, even though most of the time every single word is rehearsed, right?
Oh yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of times in front of different audiences by the time you've heard it. He still has to, he does that to make it seem like he's just thought of everything he's saying right now.
Yeah. On the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, because that spontaneity. I think that's a really good example because because me and her do watch a lot of stand up. We love stand up comedians. Um, so we go see them live and everything like that. And there is something to that when you feel like you're part of something that's spontaneously being created. It makes it better. Like you're part of.
Hmm.
It's like you're part of the conversation that's happening. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like you're part of this thing that's evolving. And that's like even then, like when we always said like we were writing our shit, it's like whatever. This is this version. We could have another version that comes out in
Hmm.
a couple of months, or the way we talk about things. It's like always like an ever evolving thing to where, and it doesn't. I mean, part of it to me,
Kaizen.
yeah.
Oh, you know that term, Kaizen?
Oh, Kaizen. No, I'm sorry. I
Yeah, I think it's like a Japanese business term or something. You can look up Kaizen, I think.
mhm.
And yeah, it's just exactly what you're saying. Like small experimentations and build up over time, little improvements over time is what makes these colossally indestructible
Yeah,
ideas, right?
yeah, yeah, 100%. You know, but it's just gotten to this. I don't know. I mean, there's such a machine out there now that's built to like. I don't know if it was built for us or we built it and we're just riding along to where it's like,
It's
hey,
the
here's
same
this,
thing.
yeah, here's this thing. It's the best thing ever. Don't ever try and say it's not the best thing ever because then you're wrong and nobody's gonna ever like you and blah blah blah. And don't try and deviate from this thing. And
Hmm.
we've gotten everybody into this mold now where you don't question it. You know what I mean? Like you go with it. Oh no, no, that's the best thing I've ever seen or heard. No, it's perfect. You know, and it's just like, and we're so fucking people are so steadfast. I forgot who I was just talking to recently. Oh my god, it was about chicks. It was like on Twitter or something, and of course it turned into this like, dude, I don't understand. And Twitter's always been like this. It's not like it's new, but it's always been like everyone's like, oh, ever since Elon bought it, it's just this racial fucking blah blah. No, it's always been like that. Stop, like just stop. But anyway, it was like turning into this thing between two chicks, and there was like somebody posted this chick of like a blonde, blue-eyed white girl, and said like, oh, this is the perfect woman, and then like somebody else posted something of some like Latin girl and was like, no, this chick's way hotter, blah blah blah. And I was like, I was doing my stupid like you said, combative logical thing. And I'm like, yeah, I was like, not for nothing, but I was like, the chick in the top is very bland. You can tell she has no makeup. This is just her natural beauty, blah, blah, blah. The chick you posted is an obvious celebrity. She's completely done up, blah, 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 blah. But it just went into this back and forth. Dude, I must have said to these guys, like, I started getting bombarded, and mostly probably by bots. I don't recall, but I must have said like 5 or 6 times, like, dude, like it's not like I'm against anybody. Like my other half is fucking Spanish. Like I'm Italian. Trust me, I'm very you. You have to understand between me, her, where I grew up. Like I was trying to explain this to him. That granola bunny quotes granola ass white girl is more exotic to me than anything I've ever seen in my life. Like I make this joke with my buddy Jamel all the time. I didn't know I came in female until I was like 17. Like I honestly had no idea. I was like, whoa, they make me in girl? I was like, that's fucking wild, you know?
Wait, what? I'm not following. What
No,
did you
no. So
say?
like the because of like where I grew up and shit like that, like I was the
Yeah,
only
I got
white,
that.
yeah, the only white person. So
Oh, okay.
like
Oh,
my
that. All right, all
yeah,
right. I got you. I got
yeah.
you.
So like I'm like to me, white girls are like super exotic. Like I didn't know
Yeah,
they existed till I was like 17.
yeah.
And but the thing was, it's like I kept telling these guys, like, look, dude, if that's what you like, man, cool. Like I'm not really particular to like my only actual preference is whatever's in
Cri-
reach. Like
criterium. Yeah.
yeah, my only preference is whatever will let me touch it. Like that's it. I don't care. Like I will literally put my wiener, my penis in anything. And I have. The fact that it's still attached to my body is like crazy. Even I look at
What'd you
it
s-
every morning. Like
What'd you say?
no, I said the whole idea that my penis is still attached physically to my
Oh yeah.
body is nuts. Like every day I wipe a brow of sweat off my forehead. Going, it's still there. You know what I mean? And it's like but like it was this antagonistic no, you're wrong. And I'm just like okay, I don't know what to tell you. And that's
Wrong
how
for
we
what?
are with everything.
Oh, in the Twitter. You mean going back to
Yeah,
or
yeah. It
what?
was. It might have
Yeah.
been on Twitter. It might have been on something else. Oh no,
Yeah.
this was on Twitter. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It was on Twitter. That's what I said before. And but it's like even the same way with like we were just talking about like this machine with music or anything or movies. Like
Mhm.
yeah, I mean it's okay. It just sounds like that. No, this is the best thing ever. How can you not like this? You're fucking stupid. Okay, I guess I am. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Like it would be better if maybe they did this. No, you're fucking dumb. That's why you're obviously wrong because she's a multimillionaire or he's a multimillionaire and you're just sitting on the computer. And it's like, I guess. I don't know. Maybe. I
Well,
mean, the logic
there's
kind of
there's
checks
some
out.
credentials for it.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't put up a
No.
bad argument, I guess, but otherwise, like I always say this, maybe the masses are just dumb. There was a point
Yeah.
in there was a point in history where the masses of Germany said, "Hey, you know that whole group of people over there? Wipe them out. I'm fine." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's
Well,
sometimes the majority isn't always right. It just becomes a group think of like it becomes like a secular singularity group think of fear more than anything else.
Yeah.
You know?
Um, fear's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, yeah, no, you know,
it's,
and maybe fear is not the
seriously.
right word. Maybe it's like what's a good word for like the lack of self confidence or something like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I'll always say like I'm that kind of person, and I will say, and I think you probably are very much too. If not, you're the kind of person that will just look at somebody and go, "Oh yeah, okay," and then just walk away, like fuck that guy, you know. But like, I would probably more or less blame my mom for this more than anything. But it's like I'm like, there could be seven people there and be like, "Oh, this is so good, this is so great, yeah, this is the best thing ever," and I'll just be like, "This is fucking gay." And then all of a sudden, like everybody's like, "Oh my god, you're so right. I just didn't want to be the person that." Why? Why didn't you want to be the person to say it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No, I don't know. Maybe it's your Italian charm, but no,
yeah, yeah, that's what Italians are loaded with.
yeah, when I've done that, it hasn't turned out well for me. No,
Really?
well, yeah, no, I was like, it's people get irate. They get really pissed. I don't know, and I think because I'm too nonchalant.
Oh, see,
Um,
I would think that would be to your benefit because it
that's
almost
what I used to always think. I'm always like, if you're cool and you're friendly and everything's, but I've come to find out it can really piss people off. But I don't necessarily know how to shut it off because I can't work myself up artificially over things that work other people up.
no.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
100%. I've gotten kind of out of that. Like, I'll do like the proverbial, like you just said, like the Italian thing where I'll become animated, but believe it or not, I'm not becoming worked up.
yeah.
More or less, I'm being humored by something and I'm finding it funny. But like, I don't
What?
think your nonchalantness, because the thing is, if you're really, unless other people are becoming, oh shit, what's the word I'm looking for? Like insecure because of your
Yeah,
nonchalantness.
I think that's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that could be it too, because I can see that in you. Like when me and you talk, it's like no, not in a like I'm getting insecure, but I can see that you're like nonchalant in the sense like, well, this is what I think. That's it. You know what I mean? Like that's it. And people sometimes might expect more, but because they're not getting enough to actually rebut you,
Yeah.
they're becoming combative.
Yeah, there's no charge usually behind what I'm saying. I'm just kind
No.
of like playing around with thoughts, and this is
Yeah.
what's going through my head right now. This is my experience. This is whatever my take. And I think I told you before, right? This story of when I was in one of my many gutters in life, and I was trying to get some low level job as a janitor in a subway, and
Wait, they have their own janitors?
yeah, they
I just
do.
always thought you were a sandwich artist. Not you, but like you
No,
worked at Subway with a
no,
sandwich
I mean the
artist.
underground, the tube, like
Oh, a Subway station. Oh,
yeah,
dude,
well,
that
yeah,
would be
all
fucking
the stations, but
awesome.
yeah, exactly.
Did you meet any
So,
mole people?
anyways, it was like a cattle call situation. So there were like 20 of us.
Yep.
All they're only hiring for like I don't know a handful. So there's like 20 of us all sat around a like a table, but like you'd see what is that Doctor Strangelove or something, right? The
Mm-hmm.
oval table, King Arthur's court. But anyway,
Men
it's
in
an
Black.
office. It's a fluorescent lights. It's torture. In the back of some office building underground,
Yep.
uh, and all these people are going around and they're just talking about. Now, I'm a pretty pedantically clean person. You've seen around. Like I lived in an ex crack house. You saw, and it was like pedantically clean all the time,
Yeah.
right? It's like every book was in its exact spot. Every
Yeah.
so like um, and so, and I had, a lot of weird stuff there, right? But it all had its place and it was all clean and dust free, right? Um, the but everyone's and I'm just thinking this is ridiculous. Everyone's going around talking about, yeah, when I was a kid, I always just knew I was going to be a clean person when I grew up, and I just, but like just telling about basically like all of a sudden. So anyway, it gets to me after about 17 of these people tell these ridiculous stories about why they should get this job because they've just basically put us on the spot. Like until why do you think you should get this job? Like what is this
Because you
lazy
need somebody, and
hiring?
I'm here.
What's that? Yeah,
That's
exactly.
yeah.
So I'm like, it got to me. I'm like, am I living in, am I living in bizarro world? What is going on here? I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it was my dream to grow up to be a janitor. I'm like, I need a job. I'm
Yeah.
clean. I'm efficient. I show up on time. Like, what do you want? I'm like, that's it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, anyway, people started screaming at me. All the other people that had like, you're just like, you're calling us all liars.
Yeah.
Like they went off the wall. Anyway, I got a call like a week later. They said I was overqualified for the position, and good luck. You know, it's
Well,
like,
it's because it's that same. See those questions, and trust me, I just know this from firsthand personal experience from people who work in HR that I know, and,
yeah.
and and a lot of those questions like that aren't meant to actually garner information.
No,
More,
they're psychological questions. I
yeah,
understand that, but it's like I'm like, could you go off script a little bit and like try to
yeah.
pretend? But I guess not. You know.
They're meant to actually more than anything see how like susceptible and pliable and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah, that you are, that they could turn you into. So if you're gonna say something like logical, like, well, I need a job, you need somebody here, and I'm an accountable person. That, like, to be honest, like I know this more or less from. I mean, I can say his name here, nobody knows who he is, but Fred. Like even he says it. Like even in the company, like now I don't know how long ago your thing was, but like they don't care about how reliable you are. They don't care about any of that.
No.
They honestly just want to know how much they can bully you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well,
really
Fred understood that. I understood that about the place, and that I
yeah.
wasn't going to tolerate it. And whatever. I was never mad at Fred. Like, but
No, no,
yeah.
trust me.
Uh,
I don't want to go into that whole thing because that's like personal information and stuff like that. But I
yeah.
was just saying because you know him, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like he's got that firsthand experience with that where it frustrates him because he wants reliable. He doesn't care like about anything more than like, yeah, man, you're gonna do a good job and you're gonna show up and not leave me hanging. So I have to, but like the actual organization itself is like, nah, who cares? We'll just find somebody else in a week. You know what I mean? We got like five temp agencies we can get people from. Like it's a very shitty situation. I mean, that
Oh
could
yeah.
go into a lot of political talk, but I mean, I don't think we
No,
need
but
to do
he
that.
he told me like basically how it worked there too,
Yeah, trust me.
and I'm sure it's gotten way worse. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it really has. He's done much better. He's done better for himself too, but he also takes very good care of the people. But dude, when I'll tell you off here, I don't want to say
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
here, and I don't feel like
Well, you can
editing.
always erase this part if you want. Right?
No, that would
Why?
be a
Why
lot.
is
That would
this
be a
live?
lot. That would be a lot of work. Like, I'll just tell you when we click end, which I mean
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
going on like an hour now anyway. But like yeah, no,
But you're just saying, yeah, about hiring practices. No, I was just saying that, yeah, I haven't, there's been quite a few times like that, um, that I've just really, and, I've been in circles of people with like really staunch political or, like diet views or
yeah,
what have you, that if you try to say anything just kind of reasonable or nonchalant or or even like I couldn't, if I'm just combative, then, well, some people are just looking to combat again, but I'm not the type of person. I'm just like, I don't feel like dealing
yeah.
with this. I'm just gonna
Oh
go.
no, no, I get it. I get that. From you, trust me.
Like, can I go do something productive?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
but
have
some
other
some
things
people
to
some
do.
people like it. What's that?
No, you're just like I have other things to do.
Yeah, but um, but I try to be social sometimes in these situations and try to see if like because I can't just sit there and waste my time in a situation that isn't going to be fruitful in any way for my life or someone I know or anything,
Yeah,
right? When you're stuck in these situations and like you're just kind of so you have to inject yourself in some way to justify your time being spent,
yeah,
being trapped in there or whatever. So you try to um well I can't be like I can play characters obviously, but um I just can't be totally outside of anything that I can't pretend. I guess there's a difference, right? Difference
well,
between playing a role, like playing an alter ego. Do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah. No, I know, I
Um,
know. I think I get what you're trying to say. I mean,
well, that kind of just keeps all the crazy shit that this person might hate about you away
right.
from them so they don't get triggered,
Yeah. Oh
right?
yeah.
But it's still you. You're just not like bombarding them with your crazy shit, right? Because you know, well, you know, like so many people, like you can't even if they're not familiar with certain things, like anchor points.
Hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Then like, um, you're not going to be have anything to grasp onto to get them to even understand. Like, you ever just find yourself in a room full of people? I'm sure you have, like many times in your life, right?
Hmm.
Um, and you're just like, I have like, are all these people insane? Do I have any way to communicate to these
Oh
people
yeah. No, trust me, all the
um,
time, dude.
without being a complete phony? You know, there's a
Well,
difference between hiding some things that you are to not make people crazy, and then just pretending you're something you're not. You
no,
know, I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
no, 100%, dude. Trust me. There are times where I'm in a room full of people, and they're talking about something that, and I wouldn't even say like just. I'm not even saying makes no sense, but makes no sense in the actual real world aspect that it holds no value to
Yeah,
anything. But they're treating it like it's the be all end all of everything. And I'm just like, you people are dumb. Like, this is what you're, like, you're all sitting here, like, literally drinking your drinks, pinky up, acting like you're having this intellectual conversation. You people are fucking retarded. Like, you're
yeah,
all retarded people. But it's like, again, you have to almost sometimes play the part. And, but I just can't do it most of the time. And I'll say a lot of the time, that's where, uh, it's hard for me to say this without like that's where a lot of the time I'll kind of get accused of trying to be the center of attention, and I'm
mm,
not. I just want to know, why do you people care about this?
yeah, yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, or why do you have this view that you have that is so absolutely out in the atmosphere somewhere in the ether, being dissolved as you say it?
yeah,
It has no weight. Like, I don't understand your point of views to anything, but
yeah.
it's like I'll start questioning people, and the same thing we've always talked about it. It's like you just start questioning people or start asking them things. But yeah, it's like sometimes you feel like you have to play this. You have to dumb yourself down.
Yeah.
You know?
I just, and I think I told you before, I just always turn into, and this is what I did working in Hollywood all the time, because you run into a lot of, people that, and I just but you run into a lot of boring people too, that you have
Yeah.
to turn into interesting. And I just turn into Larry King, basically. I
Questions.
become fascinated, or,
Yes.
Tom Snyder,
That's what I'm
right?
talking. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You know.
Fascinated in the boring, and like it makes it exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
That's it.
Fascinated in the self-absorbed like guy that's off into left field with something that he's dedicated his life to, and he thinks he's better than you because of it.
Yeah,
Like, all
you're
right,
really
well,
well. Me, I'm really acting the same way, and I'm just trying to show you how your life is meaningless. Like, not you, but like that person who's talking about this thing, and I'm just like, everything you're talking about makes no sense. I don't think you ever actually picked up a woman talking about this. Go away. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like a lot of it will happen with me and her, and she'll be like, "Stop trying to be the center of attention," and I'm like, "I'm not. It's just this person is stupid, and they don't know they're stupid, and the other people are so goddamn scared to call this person out
well, what are you
because
talking about? Like blowhards, or what type of
no,
people are
not
we
even
talking?
blowhards. It's just like this like the because I think to actually be a I think
You
to
have to have
be
some competence to be a blowhard, or what?
no. I think, well, you have to have some competence, but I think you have to be a blowhard. You almost have to know you're bullshitting half the time.
Yeah,
Like, to me, I think you have to know. But these people are so far up their own ass that they think that what they believe or what they know is like it. You
do you have
know?
those
And
guys at the gym that just come in and don't shut up the entire time they're at the
yes,
gym and telling you absolutely everything that's going through their mind, and how they got locked in a bathroom last Tuesday at a
yeah.
fucking, what a burger, and you're just, um, do you have those guys at your gym, or what?
You know what? I get people. I haven't been to the gym now for months. The only time I go to the gym at this, I literally keep my gym membership for the tanning booth and the sauna.
Uh,
Because I have my own equipment and then I work out at work. So like
oh,
we
they
have
got a
a
gym at work. That's
yeah, we have
cool.
like a mini gym. And to be honest, like after a couple like injuries I had, excuse me, I'm sorry, unrelated to working out, my big thing was always like bench pressing. Like I honestly remember the day me and you met. Remember in Starbucks,
Yeah, yeah.
and you asked me, you're like, "Oh, are you like I forgot how you phrased it, but you
Oh,
asked if
oh, do you compete? I said
yes, compete. Yes, thank you.
because you had shaven arms. I remember.
Yeah, yes, 100%.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you can obviously tell you work out and you shave your arms. It's like, no, dude. I mean, I work out, but I'm also Italian, so I mean, if I didn't
yeah,
shave my arms, like the hair would get in 5 steps before me. So,
yeah.
but like, um, so like after I got a couple, like I had the hernia surgery, something else, and then COVID happened, so I couldn't go to the gym. I've never actually gotten back up to my original bench press weight, so it's like I almost feel like disenfranchised to get in the gym. It's very
Mm.
weird. Like my bench used to be
Well, because
very.
people might see that you're not benching. like,
No, no, no. I'm very, very solitary in the gym. I
yeah, yeah,
don't like talking to people. I'm there to do my thing.
yeah, yeah.
Like I'm very courteous though. Like if I see somebody at the bench press, I'll hey man, do you need a spot? Like I'm not trying to make conversation. I just want to make sure people are safe.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll ask people for a spot. But my thing is, it becomes like it hits your self confidence when you go from doing like I don't know the weight, I never knew the weight, but a very substantially less
A
amount. I
few,
don't look like I do
a,
less.
a few pizzas.
Yeah, basically, you know. So it's like if I'm not doing that anymore, everything I need to do can be done here. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But and then also one of my buddies at work got me into working out like at lunch, like midday, and then having the
yeah,
afternoon to yourself. And I'm just like, this is
yeah. That's
fucking,
cool.
yeah, this is amazing. Like I don't know why I never did this. So it's like, that's what I do. And I always used to tell the young guys, like at the gym when they would ask me shit, like, dude, what can I do to don't just don't. And I would say, look, you got to ask yourself, do you want to do it or do you want to look like you can do it? Because those are two very different things. And
Yeah,
if you can do it, eventually you're gonna feel it, you know. And
yeah.
it was so funny. I'll never forget when I was at one. There was this young kid, and he actually kind of like grew on me, and he just used to follow me around the gym. It was one of the Planet Fitnesses before Planet Fitness.
Oh,
Like,
geez, you went to Planet Fitness?
well, I was just about to say this was before Planet Fitness got rid of all their weights. So, like, Planet Fitness used to actually have a lot of free weights. It was a
Oh
gym.
yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah. So I used to go because I got a discount through work and stuff, and it was near the house, and there were, a lot of cute chicks, and
don't bring
believe it
any
or
gallons there.
huh?
Don't drink water out of gallons there.
No, never do
no,
that. There's fountains. I can go get the water when I want it.
no,
Believe it
no.
or
I
not,
just,
I've never, ever, ever in my life tried to pick up a girl at the gym. I always found it to be so distasteful,
tacky.
tacky. Like I just never. And there were girls that even like when me and her used to go to the gym together, she would get pissed because like women would legitimately, and I was nope, not interested in this. Like I'm here to work out.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? But there was this kid that used to follow me around, and he was trying to get. He was young, like about my age when I started, probably older. Like he was older, and he was just like, but he was good shape. And I remember
yeah,
telling him once, like, he used to, come on, man, I want to get like, just tell me what you do. And I'm like, I don't do anything. Look, dude, the only thing I can tell you is I'm Italian. Like, we're just built like this. Like that's how
yeah,
it is. Genetically, we're all tiny little hairy trolls that
yeah,
can fucking bench press a truck. Like that's
yeah.
we're meant for short bursts of banging down a door and that's it. You know, yelling at your wife, kicking down a door, and then bending over and catching your breath. That's all we're good for. You know what I mean? And looking like it. You know? So,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like, I told him once, I said, look, I actually sat him down because he was always trying to like bench what I could do and stuff. And I'm like, you're going to kill yourself. And I'm like, I'm doing what I'm doing because technically I'm addicted. Like just like anything else, it's an
uh-huh.
addiction, and you see what you're putting up, and you don't want to see anything less because you're addicted to that high of what you can do. But then I
Yeah,
remember telling him like, don't do that. And I asked him, I said, why are you here? And I might have even told you this story, so cut me off at any time. And I was like, why are you here? He's like, well, I want to work out. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because I want to get jacked. And I'm like, no, why are you here? he's like, well, because I want to work out and get big. I'm like, no, 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 no. I said, you are here to get in shape and pick up chicks. That is the only fucking reason you're here. And I'm like, in the grand scheme of things, chicks today don't want big jack dudes.
Yeah.
They're into like the cut, the rip, the lean guys, blah, blah, blah. Dude, the next week I saw him in there, he was doing nothing but lightweight, high rep. I was
Yeah.
like, you cocksucker. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, man, you're right. He's like, I thought about it. He's like, this is why I'm here. He's like, fuck it. You know? He's like, he changed his entire workout routine. And I tell people all the time, dude, my joints hurt. My back is all fucked up.
Oh yeah.
You know?
No, people. No, I know, and I saw that, and but my thing, I always went in for the health. You know,
Yeah.
I just always wanted to be, you know, the 100-year-old guy that was like competing with the teenagers. You know, that's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my thing. So size just came as a natural. Size and strength just came like with whatever genetic potential I had and just time.
Yes.
Right. You do medium weights over time, and you'll get really strong, and you'll go do a strong weight. How the hell did I get so strong? Like, you just do medium weights, right? Because those medium weights keep going up. Like, it
Yeah.
still takes more, little by little. Like,
You add 5
and I'm always,
pounds, you add 5 pounds, you know, little bits.
and I'm almost always like pissed when I have to put on more weight, you know, because I'm just like, it's like,
Yes.
I like more crap to take on and off, and I just want to fucking
oh my
pump,
God,
you
it's
know,
the
like.
same way. I'm like, ugh, I don't want to have to go look for a 5-pound weight. Like,
Mhm.
like I was the same way with shit. It's like, can't this be enough? And I don't doubt that the weight I was putting up is what gave me my goddamn hernia. Oh, remind me to tell you my story of
Did you tell me you had a hernia? Dude, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
No,
Oh.
I thought I knew you when I had that surgery. I had hernia surgery. It was like, dude, I had a crazy, crazy weird hernia. And which was funny because I actually got.
I remember your thumb. I remember you had something going on with your shoulder.
No, that was different. Believe it or not, I mean, I think me and you talked about that because I went into the more holistic approach with that and started really just doing the turmeric because they wanted to do surgery.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They wanted
That
to
was,
do,
I remember those conversations.
Yep.
So you had a hernia surgery. I don't know if you mentioned or I forgot then. Yeah.
I thought, no, I had an abdominal hernia, and what happened was, so in my 20s, it had always been there, and in my
Really?
20s, yeah, I went to go get it checked by my doctor. My doctor was cool as fuck, but he had checked out like years ago.
Mhm.
So there's a whole long story I could tell you another time about that. That's fucking hysterical. So
Yeah.
at some point, remind me to tell you about it. But so like he had looked at it, sent me for X-rays, blah blah blah. He goes, no, it's a pyeloma, and I was like, okay, what the fuck is that? And he's like, well, it's basically
Fat?
Yeah, it's a fat cyst.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, it's a fat cyst. He's like, there's nothing you really do. If you get it removed, it's going to be cosmetic. They won't pay for it, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, whatever. It doesn't bother me. It comes and it goes. So I remember one day, a few years back, quite a few years back, it was right before COVID, which is why I thought you knew about this. So like me and her, we were somewhere with her family, and I started eating something, and I noticed when I would eat certain things, my stomach would get upset, and the pyeloma would like come out.
Mm.
And one day we were with her family, and I told her I didn't even eat a lot. I just ate a couple little things. And I told her, I said, look, my stomach is really, really, and she knew how I was, so she'd be like, all right, go lay down. So I was like, my stomach's really fucked up. I don't know what's going on. Let me just go sit, because if I have to throw up, I don't want to do it in front of everybody.
Yeah.
So I remember I was wearing like a wife beater shirt, and I came back downstairs. I remember everybody's like, oh, you're back. Oh, her sister looked at me and goes, what the fuck is coming out of your stomach? And I was like, what? And I looked down, and dude, it looked like I had a fucking half a tennis ball coming out.
But that was a hernia. That wasn't a paloma, was it? Or
well, what happened was, I don't know if my body tried to correct something, or I had a hernia. I had an abdominal tear, and then a fat cyst formed in the tear.
What the hell?
Yeah, so like a fat cyst actually grew in the tear, almost like a grommet. So it was holding everything in. But
that's
when
gross.
my stomach and shit, my intestines would flare up, it would pop like out.
Yeah.
So
doubly.
So when I went to the doctor, he's like, you got to get this fucking thing taken out. And I'm like, why? It's not really like, I mean, it bothers me. He goes, no. He goes, you don't get it. He goes, right now, he goes, it holds everything in. He goes, I don't know why your body did what it did. He goes, and why it grew the way it did. He's like, it's insane. He goes, but if that thing if your stomach does what it does and you get irritated enough and it decides to cork itself out, you're fucked.
Yeah.
He's like, everything inside's going to be outside and no way to put it back in.
Yeah.
So I ended up going and I have a titanium mesh in my stomach.
Oh, gee.
Yeah. So, but I got that taken out, and then so between that sort of like that was the big thing, and then COVID, not being able to go to the gym.
That was so. You got. How'd you get the hernia? You said.
I think just from really lifting way too hard. Like I honestly think I was just which.
And you were wearing belts, and still didn't matter.
I used to wear a belt, and then I stopped because it was one of those things where it was like I felt like your body became dependent on it, and I don't
think it's a good idea to wear them. Like,
no, I don't, and
unless you're a competitor, that's your thing.
I actually just refrain from doing any really freestanding lower back workouts. I don't do straight squats. I'll only do like leg presses. I have a bad back. I've had a bad back since high school. And that's what I was just going to say, the orthopedist. So I think you probably heard me complain about my sciatica in the past.
Yeah, I think you said something about it. Yeah.
I have a really bad sciatica. And I'll say, like, I'm one of those people where just gauging from, like, if you were to look at me and see, like, of course, like, thinning hair, and I've been gray since, like, fucking high school. So it's like, but then, like, I'm in really good shape. So people never understand if I'm, like, 27 or like 65. So I went to my doctor, one of my doctors, and she's the orthopedist, and she's so cool. She's like this, not that this is really pertinent to anything, but she's like this little dykey lesbian lady, and she just cracks me the fuck up. And we're sitting there talking, and she goes, yeah, she's like, I could see in your lower, she's shipping me for x-rays, and I've seen this before. So my back I've actually lost height since I've been in my 20s. Because of like the compression, and that's why I have like an inversion table and stuff like that. I actually want to go to a chiropractor and go on one of those stretching tables.
Yeah.
But she's like
traction tables, is that?
Yes, yeah. So she's like showing me the X-rays. She's like, you can see the curve here and how everything's compressed. And she goes, you do have the beginning of some arthritis in your back. And then she goes, but going around to like when you, like a guy your age and stuff like that, that's going to set in and blah, blah, blah. And then we're talking, and then she goes, wait, hold on. And she pulls the paper and she goes, how old are you? And I was like, I'm this old. And she goes, what the fuck did you do to your back?
Yeah.
She's like, what the hell? She goes, I thought you were like older. And I was like, yeah, I get that. And she goes, no, your back shouldn't be like that at this age. She's like, no, you have a problem. She's like, you got to get that. Like, so like, it was just hysterical, like the way that worked out. But like, I refrained from doing a lot of back exercises because of it. But like, I forgot where I was going with it, but it was just a funny story the way she reacted, because she like assumed I was probably in my 60s. And then she's like, something clicked, and she's like, this guy's way too mentally like incapacitated to be this old. Like, he has to be. And then she looked at my chart and she's like, saw my date of birth and was like, wait, how old are you?
Oh, man. Yeah, no, it's no joke, and people just don't understand that. But I saw very early on, like the old guys, and they would always give you a lecture, and I was one of the young guys that listened. So, and I tended to always be that guy. I guess growing up was just always trying to listen to the older guys, and that was one of the times I did, and it definitely, I think, put stuff in my head to make sure I never. Yeah, it's just not worth it. They say this is an arbitrary number. Your body doesn't even know like how much this is or how much it isn't, or it's like all it knows is tension, right? And again, like, what are you doing this for? Are you doing this to hurt yourself? Or are you doing this to compete? And there's like, if you're not going to be a competitor, you don't have to like. And they would show me like, look at this. They'd flex their back and they have this giant turtle like or whatever. And we're like, it's like I never do heavy weight. It's just it's like I never got injured. You see that guy over there, and they tell me stories, right? And so I listened because I didn't want that. And then they'll tell me just these nightmares, like Ronnie Coleman is going through, right? Now
Is
hasn't he
he
had like
alive?
I don't know, but he's had many surgeries. He was in a wheelchair, and
Yeah, I thought
he's
he
always like
recently
guys
died.
like do like 8 plates, like lunges with 8 plates
Yeah.
while he was cutting. Like, why are you cutting and doing 8 plates lunges across the 8 plates on each side? Um, and it's just, yeah, you really don't want to walk when you hit middle age. Just
Yeah. No, I mean, but again, like anything else, it becomes an
an
addiction.
addiction. That's where that was the point you were trying to make. You get addicted to this thing, and but did you have the old guys? Did anyone warn you, or you
Nope.
just yeah
No.
found
Well,
out the hard way?
in the grand scheme of things, a lot of my lifting started in high school, and it started with, and I just was kind of naturally always. Me and my brother are both. Like I said, I just always make the joke. We're just Italian. That's just how we're built.
Yeah,
Me and my brother are both just abnormally strong. Like
yeah,
really abnormal. Like I make this. I always say the like same thing. Like everybody like wants to arm wrestle, and I'm always like, I don't arm wrestle anymore.
yeah,
And it's like, they're like, oh, why? Are you afraid? I'm like, no, I've legitimately broken two people's arms arm wrestling,
yeah,
like bigger
yeah,
than me. Once at
yeah.
work, I thought I was gonna get fired. Like everybody
Oh,
pushed.
gee.
I remember I broke his arm, and then my buddy in the job, he literally ran through the whole company yelling, "He just broke his arm! He just broke his fucking arm!" Like the dude stood up, and his arm looked like a rubber band just flopping
Oh,
around.
gee.
Like it was the craziest thing. And they're like, "Well, you're not gonna break my arm." And I'm like, "Oh no, 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 that's not what I'm worried about. I don't care if I break your arm. I don't want my arm getting like.
Yeah,
Eventually, I'm gonna run into the guy that's gonna be stronger than me, and he's gonna break my arm.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I've seen it happen, and I'm not interested. But like,
yeah.
I've been always easily like able to put on mass. So my introduction into weightlifting was really home gym from my mom's husband at the time, and at school with the phys ed teacher, who's legitimately just going to be like, put on more weight. You know what I mean? Like that kind of guy.
Yeah.
So it's like those were my real introductions into weightlifting and stuff like that. But I always also, again, I have a combative personality. So it was like, if they were like, well, do this. And I'm like, I don't like that exercise. Go fuck yourself. So I think that also helped steer me away from a lot of things that would really hurt me. But I mean, it did, of course, cause damage, like my elbows. But I also have some, it's just some regular genetic issues and stuff. Like I have um, this thing that causes, that's my shoulders, like the shoulders, the elbows. I have like an inflammation thing that happens with like my joints. And then I actually have, I think I've told you this one, I have bone spurs in my elbows.
Yeah, I think you told me that.
Yeah. So like that's a bad one. I actually broke one.
Too much
About
HGH. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
wish.
that does that
Dude, I
does
tried to get my
happen.
doctor to give me HGH like a year ago, and he's like, if you get a, he's like, he took all my levels. He goes, he goes, you just asked me for H. My doctor, my new doctor is just as awesome as my old one, except
He,
he's young. It's like,
what do you mean? In awesome in which way?
when you like, I'll always say this: when you want a doctor who's cool, find a doctor who has nothing but like real elderly patients, because
Yeah.
when you show up and you're young, they're going to be so happy to have you. They'll literally write you a script for cocaine. Like they will not question anything. And there's
What's the craziest script you got?
finasteride, straight finasteride.
So that's for uh your hair? What the hell is that
Yes.
again?
Well, that's Propecia.
Oh,
And I was one of those people that actually, well, two things. I will
finasteride keeps it from falling out, right? Isn't it?
it
Or
keeps it from falling out, and they say it helps to regrow the hairs that have kind of dwindled but not completely fell out. And it did work. It did
hmm.
work very well for me. But I
But
was
that
one.
was a crazy script because he didn't think you were a candidate, or what?
Oh, he didn't give a shit. He couldn't have given a fuck. No, but straight finasteride is actually I forgot what the actual term, the medical. I think it is just finasteride. It's something else. But finasteride started as a prostate medication, like
Mm.
Propecia. Almost every hair loss medication started as like something to do with your blood and your prostate. It's really weird.
Okay.
Excuse me. So, because it has to do with your testosterone and your testosterone being converted. So if like
To,
your
Yeah.
That's
To
how that.
dehydrate testosterone. Yeah.
Yeah, the DHT, and that's how that whole fucking wives' tale about if you're bald, you have a more. No, you don't. You're stupid. You have the same testosterone. You're just a big bald, stupid idiot. And the what do you call it? So like, I went and got that because Propecia wasn't covered by um, your insurance, whereas the finasteride, because it was a straight prostate medication, was, and you could break it up into tablets. So instead of a 25 milligram pill, you'd break it up into 5 sections. That would be a 5 milligram pill, which is what which was what Propecia was.
Mm.
Now, I'm not anti-Propecia. I'm not anti-finasteride. There's a small percentage of people that have very, very bad side effects on it.
Mm.
I was one of those people.
Oh, gee.
But it took a year for it to happen. So a year went by.
You were taking it
Yeah,
for a year, and it was
for a
working.
year, and I was like, even she was like, "Wow, this is working," and I was like, "Yay!" And then I woke up one morning, and it felt like somebody had snuck. It felt like a 2 foot gnome had snuck into the bedroom and kicked me in the balls all night,
Oh, gee.
and my dick looked like a purple mushroom.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
No, I
I
am not
wasn't.
kidding, dude.
I wasn't ready for that.
I know nobody ever. I wasn't either. That's the funny part. So like, I literally.
That made it hurt, dude.
Yeah, oh my god, dude! I was in so much pain and so much fear, and it really did affect like my capabilities, bunny quotes. But like, I was so scared. I actually showed it to her. I was like, "Yo, this is, I gotta get to the doctor." She's like, "You gotta go to the fucking doctor right now."
Oh,
And the
gee.
doctor was like, he thought I had like gonorrhea or something. And I'm like,
Oh,
my
man.
only way I have gonorrhea is if she has gonorrhea, and then there's a bigger conversation to have, I guess. You know? So like, but it turned into that. So what happened was I got off of it. I did my own sort of self therapy, like through research, and then went back on it.
What does that mean?
Like figuring out things to do to sort of reverse it.
Like chemically or
No, like diet,
uh,
exercise.
reverse it? So like it was still purple when you got
No,
home,
no,
or
no,
what?
no. Like, it took a while to reverse that. But then, like, there was also this aspect where, do you want to know what I compare it to? And I'm not saying this because I've never done it. Like, I'm 100% saying I've never done. I mean, I'm literally saying my dick turned into a purple mushroom. So I have no reason to lie about this. I've never done steroids, but it 110% seemed like everything that had ever been described to me by people who have had a steroid crash.
Mm.
So
So you think you could have accidentally been on steroids in some way?
well, it affects your testosterone and all that other stuff. So I
But
honestly,
in what manner does it affect the
well,
testosterone?
I guess what it does is it keeps your body from converting the testosterone to the DHT. So
That's what
now
it's advertised as.
what's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what they advertise it as, right?
Yeah. So, but
From what
now
I
you have
recall.
all this excess free flowing testosterone going through your body. So that's why they say to a lot of people, when you first go on Propecia, your sex drive will actually increase because you've got all
Mm.
this fucking extra testosterone.
Free testosterone, yeah.
Yeah, you feel like a fucking maniac. Like, you know? So I think what happened was my body just didn't know how to process and use all that extra testosterone, and it just turned into like a steroid crash. So,
Yeah.
but then what happened was I went off of it, fixed it. I said, let me try this again. It was experimentation and it was risky. I said, let me try it again. I got on it. Same thing happened, just twice as fast. Then I got off of it and went on regular Propecia, and the same
Twice
thing.
as fast. So 6 months you're saying it took to
Not even 6 months. Yeah.
and you got
I throw numbers and stuff out there. Don't hold me to it.
and then
Trust me.
but that made it purple again, you're saying?
It didn't turn purple. There were other things that happened to where I know. There's another weird fucking side effect. So we'll go back to the Fred thing after we hang up, and then this side effect. Maybe this side effect I'll tell on the air down the line. I told this to one of my other buddies. This is the craziest one.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna say it right now. It has nothing to do with anything. I'll tell you afterwards. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny more than anything. And the so I got off it when I regular Propecia, and that did it to me. And that's when I knew I couldn't take this stuff. That's when I actually got the hair transplants too. So I was
Mm.
like, there's no way I'm gonna Like I can't take any of this stuff. And I use minoxidil every day. I honestly don't think it does anything, but it's like one of those
Mm.
things where it's like now you're too afraid to stop.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
It's expensive. Those
I buy the
are.
cheap Walmart brand.
Oh, okay.
6 months cost me like $30.
Oh, really? Oh, that's not
Mm.
bad.
It's more of an annoyance than anything, but it kills me because like my brother and sister both have like the
Oh,
thickest heads of fucking hair that you've ever seen in
oh,
your
gee.
life. You know,
Yeah.
it's so funny too because it's like everyone's like, just shave your head, just shave your head. Fuck that. Like I hated shaving. People don't. Have you ever shaved your head?
Bald, like a cue
No, I don't
ball,
even.
or
I never shaved like Bic bald, like what they say, bicking it,
I've
like when
gone down to zero. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, dude. If you want to look good with a shaved head, it is so much more maintenance and work
yeah,
than having a head of hair.
yeah,
Like it really is. It was fucking annoying. You gotta make
yeah,
sure, because again, I'm hairy. I'm Italian. Gotta make sure my
yeah,
body hair, my eyebrows, all that shit is like on point. Gotta fucking trim your hair every like 2 days because my hair grows like crazy. So it's like then it's like you gotta make sure you're dressed to a T because you don't want to be a sloppy fucking bald guy. Like it was just, it's just stupid. Like I'm very fucking conceited. You know, like I'm very vain. I'm not gonna be the last one to say it, but I mean, it is what it is. But don't lie to me and say it's easier to shave your head. It's not.
I guess it depends on what. Yeah, I mean, I think you also have different standards of what you're talking about. There's a lot of guys that just don't try to look neat
Oh,
or
they're fat
appealing in
bald
any
guys.
way. What's that?
They're fat bald guys.
Yeah, exactly. So they don't care. So for them, it's just easier to shave their head, and they don't shave it every day and make it shiny and nice. They just buzz it like down to zero, right? Once every couple weeks, and for them, I think
Oh,
that's easy. But these are like neck beards, probably, or Cheeto
yeah, yeah,
puffers. What do you call them? Like,
yeah. Neck beard Cheetos. Yeah, no. It's like for me, it was like, dude, my hair really grows so fucking fast. Even she says it. She goes, your hair grows insanely fast. Like it's too bad it's not so thick. She doesn't say that part. But yeah, that would have sounded bad when she listened to this later. No, no, but like she even says it. She goes, your hair grows so fucking insanely fast. Like I'm the
Your
kind of
beard
guy.
too.
What's that?
Your beard too.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say I'm the kind of guy that could shave with a bic on my face in the morning. By 6 o'clock at night, I've got like 5 o'clock like thick 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's bad. I wish that hair grew on my head.
yeah.
You know, because I mean there is something to it. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But actually, we're about an hour and a half. I think I'm gonna stop the recording and then
Yeah, it sounds good.
I'll tell you the two things I was gonna tell you. The other side effect.
Yeah.
You know what? If anybody listens to this and they want to know the other side effect, then keep listening and maybe it'll come out. How's that?